E3 2014, the Sony live press conference event.
Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and you're about to see all the editing I've ever done in my entire life in this one video. This video is dedicated to the E3 conference that was held about 24 hours ago at the time of this being recorded. Yeah, about 24 hours. And let me tell you, this was basically a disaster for anyone who owns Vita. Know that this video will only contain stuff related to Vita. If you want to see any PS4 news, this is definitely where you don't want to be, because I'm not going to be putting any PS4 stuff in here except for the stuff that's cross-buy on Vita, blah 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 blah. Let's get right into it. We're going to take this video apart, piece by piece. Not one little bit is going to be spared to show why Sony really massively cocked this up. Now, I just want to point out something about how much time the Vita seems to be worth to Sony Computer Entertainment America during this conference. On the left side of the shot you are seeing right now is the rough amount of time spent on Vita stuff, and the one on the right is the amount of stuff you see related to the TV segment related to that show Powers, which I will get more into later on, and not anything after, like the amount of time spent on the Ratchet & Clank movies, like just purely Powers. The red bar on the left that you see is what separates what exclusively was on Vita, which is on the right, and what is coming to the Vita as well as PS4 on the left. Is the Vita only worth about as much time as one TV series during a games conference? I don't think so.
That's Tetris Ultimate coming to PlayStation Vita this fall. Thanks again for joining us. Now let's go check in with my good friend Ryan Clements.
Wow, that was a real big piece of news, wasn't it? I just want to point out that I actually cut out a little bit there. That is only a few second clip of what was a couple of minutes of interview, but that was from the pre-show, not the actual conference, so people who skipped the pre-show would not have seen that. While I hold nothing against Ubisoft and Mr. Tetris himself there, bringing Tetris Ultimate for Vita, this was really something that couldn't be slipped into the conference. This is during the pre-show, so again, nobody would have seen it if they weren't watching the pre-show. Why announce it here? It took them a while to get the blog post and everything up on, like, the PS blog or something like that, but, you know, it's just a bit odd that they announce it here and not in the actual conference.
With PS3 and Vita to follow as part of our cross-buy program.
This is a bit nitpicky, I know, but announcing that your game is going to be cross-buy when you're releasing the PS4 version immediately, when you could have simply held back the PS4 version for, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, would have been as much of an impact considering that we didn't even know this game was going to be out, like, right then and there. So if you were just, you know, given it a couple of weeks behind and then just said, okay, now you can have all three versions, again, this is a bit nitpicky. Now here comes the Grim Fandango and Devolver Digital style announcements. And the Devolver Digital part in general is something I want to draw attention to, because that's how you do a bloody sizzle reel. You have games shown for, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds. You show off the best bits. You show off what they look like, how they play, and then you say available on X, Y, and Z, which thankfully actually happened to be PS4 and PS Vita. This is like the only part of the conference where I wasn't massively disappointed, and the problem with this is, this would have happened anyway. These two announcements would have happened anyway, and I wouldn't have, like, batted any more of an eye towards them. Now, let me clarify that by saying that Devolver Digital and Double Fine, well, Double Fine less, Devolver Digital a lot more, Devolver Digital would have ported these games anyway. That's what they've been doing for the Vita for the past year or so. They have been porting games like crazy. Although, funny thing is, we already knew about Hotline Miami 2. And another funny thing is, they didn't show off Duke Nukem 3D, which is a bit odd because we know Duke Nukem 3D is coming from Devolver Digital. We just don't know when. And I'm still kind of surprised that they didn't show Duke Nukem 3D. But this is like the one part of the conference that I really liked. Games being shown like on par with Vita versions, and, you know, actually getting Vita games out of this one conference, and although none of them have really been coming from Sony themselves, which is a little bit disappointing. Okay, the free-to-play bit. The free-to-play bit was alright, it showed off a couple of games we already knew about, but then this happened. And this happened. What the hell are those? We don't know what those are yet. A Fat Princess Match 3 game and some game called All My Singing Monsters? What? We haven't even been announced these yet. What are these? What are these games? Why not have more detail on them? I'm confused. I'm really confused. It's... wow. Yeah, wow. Now, I'm just going to play the next clip without any context so you can understand why I'm annoyed with it.
Shortly after that, PS Now will become available on PS3 and PlayStation Vita as well.
There you go. Now here's why I'm annoyed with it.
Bringing PlayStation Now to PlayStation Vita.
Why would you play that, saying that PS Vita is obviously your lowest priority when PlayStation Now is coming, and then immediately start up your next segment saying bringing PlayStation Now to PlayStation Vita? This doesn't make any sense. You've just said that is your low priority with PlayStation Now, and you immediately say the Vita is that is the most important thing for your Vita. How do you think this is going to make Vita owners feel?
Bringing PlayStation Now to PlayStation Vita is another example of our commitment to the platform.
I don't think so. They announced that PlayStation Now is coming to bloody TVs and tablets and phones as well. It would feel like a little bit more of a dedication if PlayStation Now was exclusive to PlayStation consoles and not PlayStation TVs or bloody mobiles or something like that. Basically, it feels like that it's just a bit of a shove-in to give the Vita a little bit more life. If it was coming exclusively to PS Vita, PS3, and PS4, it wouldn't feel like a bit of a shove-in. But again, it's coming to tablets and mobile phones, and it's like, why do you want me to buy a PlayStation Vita if you're going to put this massively amazing feature when you're putting it on absolutely everything under the sun? Again, this just doesn't make any sense.
With PS Now, Vita will have the best catalog of games available on a mobile device.
What, it doesn't already? Yeah, Sony, thanks for your real trust in the platform. I mean, damn, it is actually a really good game library, especially when you put in the backwards compatibility that's already in there with the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation Portable backwards compatibility. It's better than most devices out there, especially in the digital realm. 3DS has got nothing on the PS Vita in the digital realm. Saying that it's going to become the best when it technically already is the best digital library available is just, man, how much confidence do you really have?
Remote Play.
Ah, this shit again.
Gives Vita owners quick access to PS4 games.
When you have a really fast internet connection, both at your house and the place you are actually at.
And the response has been overwhelmingly positive.
No shit, it's the real only support that the Sony has given the Vita in North America is actually letting people play PS4 games on it.
With Remote Play, PS4 blockbusters, such as Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed,
both of which got mediocre spin-offs on the Vita, by the way, don't bother to mention them,
will further showcase PlayStation Vita as the ultimate mobile platform.
But you're just streaming video to it. How does that make it any different from any tablet that's got YouTube?
In total, there are more than 100 Vita titles in development today.
Where are they? In the segment coming up, you're only going to mention like 3?
Including Tales of Hearts R from Namco.
Tales of Hearts R, in fact, has not been in development for a year. It has, in fact, been out in Japan for bloody ages.
Ubisoft's beautifully hand-drawn RPG, Child of Light.
You probably could have put Freedom Wars or Oroshika in there instead of bloody Child of Light.
And Telltale's mashup with Gearbox, Tales from Borderlands.
Oh, I'm real confident in this one. No real fault of Telltale games themselves, but seriously, look at the back catalogue of PlayStation Vita games that Telltale have done, and you won't really be that enthralled. The Walking Dead took, what, a year to come out after the rest of the other versions and actually performed worse in a lot of them. Then you've got, what was it? Oh, I know, Walking Dead Season 2, which has actually been lagging behind its console brothers in releasing all its other episodes. Or, I don't know, The Wolf Among Us, which, although it's been announced for the Vita and currently has 4 episodes out on the consoles, we haven't heard a whiff about a PlayStation Vita release.
Minecraft is also coming to Vita, and it will be the full console experience with co-op included.
Thanks for telling us something we already knew. You make it sound like a huge, big announcement. In fact, Child of Light could probably fall under this as well. And Tales of Hearts.
We got some Minecraft fans. PS Vita will remain a key pillar for us.
I really, really, really deny the validity of this statement right here. And that's mainly because of an interview posted on Edge, which I'm posting a screenshot of a GamaSutra roundup of said event. And it's not looking that good. For those of you who can't read what this says, I'm about to do it. If you think my voice sounds like cancer covered in AIDS, please turn away now. Sony executive Andrew House seeks the silver lining in fact that AAA development is shrinking and consolidating, looking to indie development and the PlayStation Network to build company fortunes. Sony Computer Entertainment President and Group CEO Andrew House was on stage at Sony E3's press conference in Los Angeles this week to sell viewers on the future of PlayStation, but prior to that he spoke at length about Sony's current state of affairs in an interview with Edge Online. Notably, the company is shifting gears on how it sells the PlayStation Vita, looking upon it as a standalone game console and more as an accessory that extends the PlayStation Network. We've taken a more holistic view with our platforms. With Remote Play, Vita has now essentially become an extender or an enhancer for the main platform for other rooms in the house, or when someone is wanting to use the main screen, says House, claiming that Sony is also hoping to market it to younger players in the future. The company is also embracing the Vita's indie appeal and seems keen to use it as a way to introduce more independent creators into the PSN ecosystem. It's becoming a very accessible and easy on-ramp for independent developers, said House. Those who have had some success in the mobile space and now want to work on games that are a little bit richer, that have a more dedicated gaming interface. This is what PlayStation Vita owners were fearing all along, and doing this directly after saying that during the E3 conference with no proof of the form of the latter is absolutely and positively destroying your Vita community. That is amazing. What makes you think that you're going to get away with saying the Vita is now just an extender for us? That is just terrible. And this is Andrew House, the CEO of bloody PlayStation Group CEO and Sony Computer Entertainment. This is not just America, this is Sony Computer Entertainment saying that America is getting a cut down Vita experience because they don't want to put any effort into it. What the fuck? Not much of a pillar, is it, guys?
Let's talk about PlayStation TV.
Okay, first of all, the watermarks are there because the official PlayStation screen kind of conked out on YouTube. Second of all, what? Why is it now the PlayStation TV and not the PlayStation Vita TV? Are you afraid of your own fucking brand name? Why are you calling it the PlayStation TV and not the PlayStation Vita TV? This doesn't make any sense. I am just, oh god, you are literally afraid of the name PlayStation Vita, aren't you? Vita means life. Give it life. Stop strangling it out of us. My god, and trust me, this just gets worse.
This little gem will be able to pair with your PlayStation 4, allowing you to play your PS4 game via remote play on a second television in your home. It will give you access to video and music streaming services, will give you the ability to play hundreds of PS3 titles made available through PlayStation Now. And of course, PlayStation TV will also play most Vita titles, as well as PS1 and PSP classics.
I just want to point out the little issue here. PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 1, PlayStation Portable games, all put at the end of the pack. Just, yeah, it's more important that you're able to play remote play with this thing than play any actual reasonable games.
In fact, our Disney partnership continues with Disney Infinity 2 coming to PlayStation TV and PlayStation Vita early next year.
Okay, sure. Alright, I'm not 100% sure how it'll work on Vita with the NFC stuff, but that's alright, that's cool. You know, you could also do something like bundle Disney Infinity 2 with the Vita TV. That'd be great. Like, why not have a little package that sits up front that says, hey kids, hey mothers, buy this console and you get Disney Infinity with it so you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on a really expensive...
And a digital voucher for the Lego Movie video game.
What? No! No, 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 you've got to be kidding me. You can't leverage your Disney partnership to actually bundle in something like Disney Infinity. Why not Minecraft? Minecraft would sell like gangbusters. Hey kids, buy this, and here's a copy of Minecraft to go with it, and it works just like it would on a PC. Well, not just like it would on a PC, but still, it just works just like it would on a console. And it's like, what? Why are you even... My god, this is the dumbest decision of the entire conference. And that's not including the 10-minute thing that's coming up that I'm about to show. Jesus Christ almighty, wow! Bundle in something that has some redeeming value, even if it's just something like Killzone or PlayStation Vita pets. Oh yeah, you can't bundle PlayStation Vita pets because that game is reliant on its goddamn touch. Wow.
New games, new hardware.
Now, I just want to point out a bit of a flaw in his logic here. A, there were no new games for PlayStation Vita except for Tales of the Borderlands, which is multi-platform. I am also entwined in Grim Fandango and, you know, all the other stuff that's already probably going to be coming to Vita in the first place. The thing is, there weren't any big hitters. There was no game in that conference which I would say would make a Vita TV worth a purchase. Right? A PlayStation TV. Fucking hell. There is no reason to buy a Vita TV on this conference, and that's probably what would be a good thing to put next to a Vita TV. Something worth buying for it. Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a stroke. They didn't give us anything to make the Vita TV worth any effort. Anything worth buying. Oh my god. Alright, before we get on to the big finish, there's obviously one last thing that needs to be talked about. Final Fantasy Type O is a PSP game that released in 2011 in Japan to relatively rare critical acclaim with really high ratings pretty much anywhere in Japan that has touched it, and even some places outside of Japan, like PlayStation Nation, was it? Or something like that? No, it was PlayStation Lifestyle. So, here's the thing. This morning, after the E3 conference, I was asleep for this, so I didn't end up participating in this until long after it was all over. They announced that it was coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. Guess what? About an hour later, after an hour of the blog being up on the PlayStation blog, it got changed, and turns out we're only getting the PS4 version. Sony, Square, I don't know who this message is going out to. I think I'll talk to Sony first. Sony, JRPG Vita, remember that? Remember how that was supposed to help us determine what games we were getting? No? Do you remember? Do you remember that at all? Like, the only game we've gone so far from that is Tales of Hearts, and then this happens after E3, after we got massively shafted. Yeah, this was kind of bad timing to put this announcement up, wasn't it? Not to mention, good job the guy who's supposed to be proofreading everything. Thumbs up. You just made Vita owners extremely depressed at the game they should be able to play, but never will. Square, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Did you not see the demand of the PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita owners who wanted to see Final Fantasy Type O in English on their consoles? Every single time I can imagine that I have seen on the internet has referred to Final Fantasy Type O becoming a game in America on PlayStation Portable or PlayStation Vita. Did you just ignore all of them? In the blog post, they said, we recognize how much demand that there has been for Final Fantasy Type O, and thank you for your continued support. But you gave it to us on the wrong console. You even failed to mention the PSP or the Vita people who just wanted this game on their console because it was there first. You did not just... I don't even know why I'm even bothering talking to Square. Square haven't even put Kingdom Hearts on the Vita. They haven't talked about how much Final Fantasy X is sold on the Vita. So I don't know. I imagine they've just stopped Vita publishing entirely. They're just going to ignore the Vita from now on. I just know they are. What a goddamn disgrace. And really, Sony, this is doubly your fault for putting this out wrong and then putting it out with the right information exactly right after E3 when we got screwed. Seriously, who manages your sense of timing there? Do you have two completely different teams working on the Vita, one of which is just a retard course just running around throwing their own crap everywhere? I have no other comment. It's just so depressing. Alright, so that's the entire conference in a nutshell, except for this one last clip. On this one last clip, which is the 10-minute clip of talking about that one show Powers, which felt like it went on for half a bloody hour, I am going to display the name of a game they could have included in a sizzle reel for the Vita for 15 seconds up at the top of the screen. So every 15 seconds you're going to see a new game they could have used to advertise the Vita during this segment where they talked about TV shows in a goddamn games conference. People aren't happy about this, and I completely agree. If you go and check the comments or the description of this video, I'm going to link posts that show nothing but absolute hatred of Sony at this point. They completely screwed up this conference. They completely screwed up any chance they had of selling the Vita to anybody. And then next thing you know, they end up and going to crap, like announcing FF Typo for the Vita, and then immediately retracting it for PS4. They've done that before. A game called Skulls of the Shogun, I think it was. Well, it had a blog post announcement on the Vita just about, I don't know, like a few weeks ago. It had a blog post saying it was going to come to PS4 and Vita, then immediately got retracted and got republished as only PS4. They've done this before. Why did they do it again? And why did it happen on a game which nothing but PSP and Vita owners want? I don't get it. What are you doing? Yeah, as I said, just there is nothing but hatred going around for Sony at this point. It's just constant comments threads of people who say they're going to sell their Vita. They're really disappointed. They think the Vita isn't being supported anymore. I goddamn agree with them. It's so depressing to see the PlayStation Vita just fall off a... Just like, be constantly say, oh, we are supporting it, then putting it at the very last priority of every time you ever talk about it. I'm so depressed right now. I have bought 3 PlayStation Vitas, and I've bought 2 PlayStation Vitas for other people. This is the most ridiculous thing I could possibly imagine. This was worse than last year's E3. You want to know what they did last year's E3? They spent 10 minutes on a game called Wonder Book. God, I'd never heard about that after it launched. But now the Vita is just getting sidelined for some TV show called Powers and all the PlayStation 4 games you can possibly imagine. And then next thing you know, PS Vita comes along and they're like, oh, you can use this as a mobile device. Oh, you can stream games to it. Bullshit. They know we want Vita support. There are Vitas out there that want games. Pretending that the Vita doesn't exist anymore or that the Vita is just going to be another mobile device isn't going to solve your goddamn problems. Axis, Atlas, NISA, Idea Factory International, and Tecmo Koei. Remember those 5 names, because those 5 names are the biggest names in Vita now. Sony is not going to lift one goddamn leg for the Vita anymore, at least not in North America. If you're in North America, those 5 names... They aren't going to lift a finger to save it at this point. This is the most ridiculous thing I could have expected. I was expecting better than last year. I was expecting better than the year before. I mean, at least at the last E3... At least at the last E3, we got an announcement of Dead Nation, which actually came out on PS4 before it came out on Vita, even though it was only announced for Vita. That's it. That's all I have to say. My support of the PlayStation Vita has just been shattered. I am nowhere near as happy about the Vita as I was before this E3. I was hoping for something more than this, but you're just kicking me in the balls again and again and again and again and again. Come on, Sony. Do you do your press conferences? Like, do you do your press conferences at the very last minute? Have all the PS4 stuff ready weeks beforehand and then just shove Vita stuff in where there's room? That's what you're doing, isn't it? I swear that's what you're doing. It's just like, oh shit, we have to support this platform. Yeah, this out there and this out there. Although what you're showing is stuff either we already know about, stuff nobody gives a shit about, or shit that actually isn't coming out on our console. Wow. You need to fire your entire PlayStation Vita press team. You need to fire your entire PS4 press team while you're at it. It's just to get some blood into the Vita instead of over-focusing on the PS4 like you're doing right now and making owners of your handheld console feel like they're not worth shit. That's all I've got to say. I'm going to let the audio from this clip continue so you can see how bored everybody else got while they were watching this. I'll see you all next time, but please, if you managed to get this far, please share this video around with everyone you can think of. Send it to Twitter. Send it on Facebook. Send it to the PlayStation on Twitter. Find the employees on Twitter who work at Sony Computer Entertainment America. Here's one for you. AMBOYES. That's the Twitter handle. Send this video to him in droves. Send something to him. There is actually a Twitter hashtag, no Vita, no buy, for the Final Fantasy Typo. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. See you next time, folks.
As you're aware, we're constantly bringing more value to the PlayStation Plus subscription service. Today, this comes in the form of discounted games, early access to beta programs, and the Instant Game Collection, which has resulted in a 190% increase in global Plus subscribers since the PS4 launch. We'll be adding more value to Plus in the future by including our original programming. I'm pleased to announce that all Plus subscribers in the US will be able to view the entire Powers series for free.